and welcome back to here, with us at Adobe Live in Behance. It's me and Sophia. We're back for more, Sophia.
Yes, we're back for more Rush today.
We are. It's Rush Part 2, and it's good to be back. I had so much fun last Monday, just going through some editing. It was good, right? We were just going through the basics of how we both use it, and today I'm excited to be back because we spoke a little bit about how we both used Rush last week. And you mentioned last week that you use this a lot for your behind the scenes in your photo shoots. So we thought we'd go a little bit deeper into this today.
Yes, on popular demand today, I'm going to show you a bit of behind the scenes of actually a photo shoot that I did this weekend. So yesterday, so it's still super new. I've gone over the footage a little bit and imported it into Rush already. So we don't have to look at the blue bar while it's importing for 10 minutes. It's a fashion shoot that I did. And that's how I can show you how I usually would edit and use Rush for my behind the scenes.
Love it. I honestly, I'm looking forward to getting into this today. And hello to everybody that's joined us already in the chat and Behance. I can see Gareth in there, Oliver's in there, Sandrine, Angus, we've had Mike. Hello. Please ask any questions that you want today in the chat and Behance. If you're watching on YouTube, join us in Behance. And of course, after the stream, we continue chatting in Discord as well. So lots of chatting. It's always good to see you all. I hope you all had a lovely weekend and are having a great Monday. Mondays are all about Rush right now. And today, as I said, can't wait to get in behind the scenes. And Sophia, one of the things, right, that I thought about when we were talking about, behind the scenes photo shoots is that photo shoots, and I've only been on 2, maybe 3 photo shoots in my whole life. And in that time, they've gone on for a whole day. Like we've been there from like 7 a.m. until, I don't know, midnight, 1 a.m.
Wow.
It was very late. And so how long do you intend these videos of Rush to be? Because this is going to be a lot of footage. So,
I mean, it is a lot of footage because it's also, I usually prep the photo shoot. Like I prep my photo shoots for a long time, like for weeks, but I have this one day before where I have to do the setup and have to clean my studio and have to get all the stuff ready. So that's a little bit of footage. And then the day of the shoot, it depends on how many people are involved. And now with Corona, I have pretty small shoots. So it's usually just one model and one makeup artist, maybe a stylist. So this shoot was about, I think 5 hours, roughly, maybe 6. So that's not long. Like we started at 12, so we were done at 6. And I have to admit, because I'm the photographer and I don't have an assistant there to help me do my behind the scenes, I sometimes forget. Either I forget to turn off the camera, like I set it up somewhere and like press record. And then after half an hour, I'm like, oh no, it's still recording and nobody's going on in the room because people are having a break or something. Yeah. And then I have like super like long footage of nothing happening. Or I just forget completely to turn it on. So it's a bit of bits and pieces. It's not the whole day. So they're just like small bits when I'm like, oh, I have to do behind the scenes. And then I grab the camera and film a little bit like the makeup artist, or I set up the camera somewhere. This is how I do behind the scenes right now because I don't have I'm not allowed to have so many people in the studio at the moment.
And what camera do you use? Because this is what I want to get into a little bit more today. What are you recording all of this on?
So I record my behind the scenes with the same camera I'm recording right now that we're looking at, which is a Sony Alpha 7S. I usually use a Sony. I like the Sony film look a little bit more, and for photos I use Canon. And I just have it, I don't have it here right now. I just have one of these tripods that you can like bend. I don't know how they're called. I can look it up. But there are these tripods that a lot of YouTubers have as well. I got completely influenced and marketing got me. These tripods that you can bend so you can put it anywhere. And you will see because I'm in the car and I'm like trying to squeeze the tripod in like into the window so you can see me. Or you can actually like bend it around something. so you don't have a huge tripod to put places. So that's really good.
Well, Tim says they're gorilla pods. That's the official name.
Yes, exactly. Gorilla pods. That's what they're called. And I think they're quite handy for stuff like that. If you're just on the go and you want to put the camera somewhere and don't think about it too much. So that's what I use. And the Sony. I don't use any microphone or audio equipment when I do behind the scenes, just because just for doing it for Instagram and stuff like that, it would be a lot of extra work. So the audio is not perfect because I just shoot into the camera, but I think for getting the idea of the photo shoot, it's enough.
Oh, totally. And I think, when we looked at Rush last week, we were thinking that a lot of these behind the scenes videos are great with a bit of music, just to show, what goes on behind the scenes, because you don't always get to see that, especially now in lockdown.
Yes.
So it's so good that this can be shown. And as we said, like we saw last week, that there are a lot of things that we can do in Rush to speed up the footage. And so you wouldn't want to have audio in that anyway, to capture, all of the walkings around and the setting up and the
Exactly. And also, while I was going through the footage, I'm like, ooh, we can try some of the automatic audio adjustments and really challenge it, because I know there's one bit where I'm walking outside to get to go to the designer's house to pick up the clothes, and it's so windy. I don't know if you can even understand what I'm saying, but I'm willing to try out the noise reduction on Rush to see how it does.
Yeah, let's have a look. I mean, I think
let's have a look.
I've tried this feature before, and I know that it's definitely been. I've got a camcorder with a little microphone that you can kind of screw in. It's kind of like a long, little skinny thing. Mm-hmm. And without that, I would have actually just avoided all audio completely. So let's have a play. Let's have a look.
For most of stuff, I don't have audio in general, but for that, I was like, I want to tell the story of what I'm doing, so I included some talking bits. But we'll see how that goes. Yeah. So I have Rush open here on my iPad, so I'm looking here, so nobody wonders where I'm looking. I'm looking at my iPad here, and I already, like I said, imported my footage, and I have it not in the timeline. I have it here in the project assets things. As you can see, it's not a lot. It's okay. I think for one video, that's enough. I'm kind of hoping it will be 1 or 2 minutes long. It shouldn't be too long. Otherwise, I assume it's just a bit boring at some point, but maybe people think it's interesting, so let me know.
Oh, no, it's always good. And before you edit, tell us a bit about the photo shoot itself. Like, what were you doing? What was this for? What kind of mood were you going with? Like, tell us a little bit about the shoot.
Okay, so it was 2 for 1. Is that how you say it? So I had 2 things that I had to shoot, and I shot it with the same model and the same makeup artist. Efficiency. Because I was shooting for a designer. Like, there's a Berlin-based designer that I really like, and we have a mutual friend. And I'm right now extending my portfolio when it comes to fashion editorials. So we had a little chat about if I could borrow some of his clothes to just do a little test shoot with a model and add that to my portfolio. And he was up for it, and he does super cool artificial fur outfits. So I don't know if we'll see. I think we'll see it later. There's this huge hat in red, which is completely with fur. And we did that for like an editorial portfolio shoot, basically. And then we did a little bit of a beauty shoot for a New York-based makeup brand. They have a campaign by the end of the month because it's Trans Day of Visibility. And I shot some photos for their campaign for the end of the month. So we did the editorial stuff first, and then we did some beauty shots, because the beauty shots involved a lot of glitter. And just a pro tip on the side, if you ever shoot with any glitter, do it at the end, because it's going to be everywhere and you will never be able to get rid of it or remove it. And so we did that at the end. I can't show photos yet because they're just not ready, but you'll see some of the outfits for sure. So there's going to be a lot of fake colorful fur in this photo shoot.
Amazing.
So yeah, that was what we did yesterday.
Love it.
It was a lot of
Thank
fun.
you. It's good to hear about it, so we know what we're going to see. You know, we know
Yes.
what you're up to, and you've got Rush open on your iPad.
I got Rush open on my iPad, and the behind the scenes, because I was like, I'm gonna go all the way. The behind the scenes starts the day before, like I mentioned, because I have to set up my studio and I had to clean the studio and get everything ready. So as you can see, the first clip here, which is a beautiful still of my face. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Let's move this.
We had worse last week.
Like, it's not getting better. It's not getting better. What am I doing? I also have to admit, I'm not good yet at this holding the camera talking thing, because I don't have a flip screen on my Sony, so I don't see myself. I'm basically guessing if I'm actually looking into the camera or not.
No, it looks good. Do you know what, though? Actually, on a side note, I saw somebody advertising is it a gimbal camera? A gimbal?
Yeah, I have a gimbal.
Phones, but for a mobile phone.
Yeah.
And I was looking at them walking around with it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is genius. So anyway, so side note, randomly had to mention it. But yeah, you look good. You look fine.
I mean, we see that I had my white balance on auto. I'll show you in a second what that means, because okay, I'm just cutting a little bit the beginning, because you can see me taking the camera and trying to make it face me. So what I did is just I went through the timeline to the point where I want to cut it, and then went on the little scissor on the left side, and then I'm just gonna throw this in the trash bin. Like, I mark it and then I throw it in the trash. You can see that here the image is getting more yellow. It's very blue, and then it turns yellow. That's because I had my white balance on auto. So this is just me explaining what's gonna happen. We can play that back so you can hear what I'm saying.
To do this,
can you hear it?
Behind the scenes
can now.
Trying. And today is preparation day for a shoot tomorrow, so it's all about cleaning the studio, getting everything ready, picking up stuff that we have to pick up, and that's it. It's not that exciting, but I'll try to make it exciting somehow.
So that's my very exciting intro into my behind the scenes. So we see whatever I'm doing here with the camera needs to be cut, because nobody wants to see that. So we have that intro bit. I usually just zoom in and out a little bit like this, so I see what I'm doing. And then I took the dog to the studio, which we will later see was a mistake, but I'll show you more of that.
I was just about to say that's a brave move to take these puppies, because our puppies are the same age, and that's Taco. Yeah. He is just gorgeous. Yeah. But wow. It
was a mistake, and you will understand why. I think I have the clips in here. Yeah, because I cleaned the studio and he made a big mess after. Okay. Now I just wanted to, like, behind the scenes for me is also just capturing the mood and showing what I'm doing. Not everything has to be super informative. So I also have this little clip of Taco walking, because I thought that was really cute. We're on the way to the studio. Maybe it's a little bit too long because he's walking a lot. Maybe cut it here. And then I just throw this in the trash. And I already know, for example, if I already know that this is not gonna have sound, because you just hear loud, like the wind, and nobody's saying anything, I usually mute it right away, just so that if I look at the video back, it's not so confusing, basically. So I just tap on the audio sound, like the audio thing here, these waves on the right, and just mute it. So that's already taken care of. And then we go back to our project assets. Usually everything is already in the timeline, but sometimes it's okay to have everything in the timeline, but I usually delete it from the timeline and then add it, because sometimes I then decide not to use something. I don't know. I think it's personal preference. If you have everything in the timeline already and then move it around, or if you like delete it and then put it back in.
I do it differently. I put everything in the timeline. I watch it all through to see if it all looks right, like everything's in the right place, and then I drag the clips around and then I edit it. But you're doing it clip by clip. It's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's preference. So all the
yes, I think so too. Yeah. And also if it's a short video where I know I just have a few, like I know that everything I recorded will go into the video, I also leave it in the timeline. But for this, I'm not sure if I'm going to use everything. We have this. This is already part of the storytelling why it was a mistake to bring the dog to the studio. So you see he has this toy here. Huge toy. We thought, oof, get the dog a big toy so he's distracted all day. He was distracted. That worked. So then we see here I start vacuuming and the dog's running around. Also think this is a bit too long, but we're at the studio vacuuming, showing how glamorous it is to be a photographer vacuuming your studio.
Behind the scenes.
Very glam.
Sandrine asked a question, what would be the maximum amount of footage of MP4 files that you'd be able to work with? I've worked with a 3-hour session before to edit all of that down, and that was absolutely fine. I don't think I've done longer than 3 hours. Have you done longer than 3? I mean, I've never seen a problem.
No, I mean, I have not done longer than 3 hours, but I've never run into problems. I think storage might be a problem. Like at some point, if you synchronize it with the cloud, it might take very long. It might make it a bit slower, but I don't think it's impossible.
Yeah. No, I've never seen a problem. I've never seen a limit. We can have a look. We can look that up though. But yeah.
So just vacuuming here, going back to my assets. Oh, now I wanted to do a little bit of a time-lapse thing. Like you said, like speeding it up. Because, you know, I'm vacuuming here and obviously nobody wants to watch me vacuum for 10 minutes. So we see I'm vacuuming here, vacuuming, and that just takes forever. So we're just gonna speed that up. Close this. And for that, we're gonna go to this speed panel. And I think it should be quite fast because, let me see. Oop. Also, if I do time lapse, I automatically turn off the sound as well because sometimes it does funky stuff with the sound. So let's play this. Is that fast enough? Should I fast?
That's quite fast. I think it works.
I'll try a bit more. Just see. Like this. I want it to look like.
Oh, you go. I would definitely add a ramp though. I would click the ramp box so that when you've got your clip before it and the clip after, it slows down your other clicks to get into that speed. Otherwise, it's going to go normal, extremely fast.
Yes.
Normal.
Let me see.
So, yeah, ramp will help you.
I did the ramp. How much should I do the ramp and the amounts? What do you usually do? Now it's half a second.
Yeah, half a second. The clip's quite small, so yeah, you'll be fine there.
Let me see what it looks like now. So you see vacuuming here. Maybe a bit more of a ramp. Let me just see. Let's do a second. So here we go. So we see vacuuming, and we see me cleaning my studio. I can also cut that a little bit. Maybe it's too long. Let's cut a little bit of this. So, because that's not really super interesting. But now you see me vacuuming here. And now the big reveal what the dog did and why it was a big mistake to bring him to the studio. Because this is what he did with his toy that he got like 5 minutes before. We were like, oh, before we go to the studio, let's buy him a toy so he's not bothering us while we clean. And I had just finished vacuuming. And this is what happened.
Yeah, that's puppies for you. Yeah. And Reverb Mike asks what the targeted length of this video is. And I think you said 2 minutes, maybe 2 to 3 minutes, right?
Yeah. I sometimes edit it roughly first and then just go back and shorten the clips, because sometimes when you see the whole thing complete, or like the first edit, the rough first edit, you realize, okay, this is running for a little bit too long. We can shorten it here, like fine tune it. But usually my behind the scenes are 2 minutes. I think that's enough to get an idea. Maybe this one will be a bit longer because it's actually 2 days of production, but yeah, I think 2 minutes should be good. Also, for if you want to upload stuff to social media, if you, for example, I usually upload stuff to Instagram and to my Instagram stories, and you have a maximum of 1 minute you can upload at the time. So I usually just do 2 minutes, just because otherwise it's a lot of work to upload more footage. But obviously, if you upload it to YouTube or something, it can be as long as you want it. I think maybe there's a time limit, but it can be longer than 2 minutes for sure.
Totally.
So we just cut that a little bit. People get an idea of what a big mess it was.
And Sandrine commented on the size of your studio, by the way, says it's a gigantic studio. It does look really big. What a good space.
It is big. It is big, but I share a studio. It's not my, it's not solely mine. I share the space with other people. But we are very lucky to get a space that's quite big, also because right now with the restrictions, it's good because you can keep the distance, and that's pretty good, and also nice for shoots because people can hang out and it's not just being tight together. Next thing, so this will be the challenging bit with the audio. As we can see, it's very windy. my face, oh my, don't you think sometimes it's really weird to edit your own videos? Like you look at yourself and you hear yourself.
I do this all the time because I make loads of instructional videos about like our website, for example, to guide people to enablement, and it's constantly my voice or my face. And I have, when you're just like, enough, I can't listen to myself anymore. I'm with you. Honestly completely there.
I look at myself, I'm like, what am I doing? Why can't you just think about your face while you talk? Because look at me, what is happening here? Okay, let's try. Let's see what the beginning, or it's like when I pick up the camera, I just take that out so let's play that, because this is going to be very like windy sound. So we can see what we can do with the sound with this clip. Let's go. Oh, I'm on my way to pick up the clothes for tomorrow. It's actually quite nice. It was raining, but now sunshine. It's really cool. Let's go.
It's a lot of wind.
It's a lot of wind, so I think this might be the time where we try to see it. Even you see sometimes, usually most of the time, Rush is really good at seeing what kind of audio a clip is, like determine if it's voice or music, and this one was so windy that it could not even tell that. I think it's gonna say other. Yeah, let's see if we change this to voice first, if that already does something here. And let's listen back and see if that changed anything. The clothes for tomorrow. It's actually quite nice. It was raining, but now sunshine. It's really cool. Not that much. It's still super windy. So we can do reduce background noise and see if that does something and helps a little bit. Can you still understand? Do you think people could still understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's try a little bit of noise reduction and then pick up the clothes for tomorrow. It's actually quite nice. It was raining, but now sunshine. It's really cool. I think
your voice sounds a lot smaller, but the wind has got a little bit better. You can change the intensity of it, but I think for me, if I was to keep this audio in, I would probably edit this in Audition and bring this back in.
I mean,
yeah.
That's what I mean with these like behind the scenes. For me, it's more like, do people get the idea? What are you doing? Where are you going? What is like, what does actually go into doing a photo shoot? And for me, that's more like, it's about the story rather than everything looks and sounds perfect. Because I think for that, there are other things. Like for me, this is more like a vlogging thing. And if people understand what I'm saying and understand what's going on, that's enough for me.
Yeah.
So if that's, once again, beautiful still of my face. And so if people understand that, then I'm totally fine with that. And we can move on to the next thing, because this is when I went to pick up the clothes and it was sunny. It's kind of funny now because I didn't plan that, but then I picked up the clothes and it started pouring rain. So let's add this. You can see me. You already see part of the hat in the back there.
That's bright.
And I'm just, what am I saying? I have to listen to this too because I don't remember what am I talking about here?
It's probably hard to see. We picked up the clothes. Sneak peek. So we picked up the clothes and now we go back to the studio.
So we picked up the clothes. I know what happened then. The next clip, you can see I'm trying to squeeze in the tripod into, like I was sitting in the car and I was trying to squeeze it in like behind the wheel. So I could tell people what was going on because I actually sat in the car for a really long time because it was so much rain and I was so worried that this orange thing in the back, since it was not covered completely, would get wet and I would get in big trouble since it's just borrowed. It's first of all a designer piece. There's only one of it in the world. And I was like, oh my God, this is probably super expensive. And if it gets wet, I don't know what's going to happen. Is anything going to break? So I actually waited in the car for quite some time.
I don't blame you. Stuart mentions in the chat that you're kidnapping the honey monster, which is very funny.
You'll see what it looks like later. It looks kind of cool, but I think people that saw me on the street with these huge IKEA bags with like these furry things poking out were like, what is she doing? Where is she going? What is that?
Oh no, good old trusty IKEA bags though. I do the weekly shop with an IKEA bag. Always good.
I mean, they did a great job. They were just too small to cover the whole hat because these hats are huge.
It looks big.
Which makes them so cool. So I was explaining that I'm sitting in the car waiting. And then I was like, okay, while I wait, let's just film a little bit of the rain on my window. So that might be a clip that we will remove later, but I thought it was really funny at that time. And there's another clip that we will have to speed up because I was like, ooh, we're going to do this artsy and I'm going to put the camera in the car while I take out everything. Because then I decided I'm going to check the trunk for an umbrella. I found an umbrella and then I broke it. So that did not work. So I had to wait. And let's delete this. Here you just see me taking stuff out the car, right? Yeah. Just for, yeah. So I take that. And I think that was preparation day, basically. So what I did was I cleaned the studio. I picked up the clothes. Sometimes I already get the backdrop down. Sometimes I have to change the color of the paper in the background. But that was basically the setup day. And obviously the whole planning process of the photo shoot happened like a week before, roughly. So then that's the next morning. Me the next morning telling people that I got a corona test because I usually get tested before I do photo shoots in my studio.
Yeah. And I've got a quick question for you, Sophia. What about the planning phase that you just mentioned? Like, what goes into that? Like, is that something that would be good in a behind the scenes video? Is that when you're planning out like each shot of what you're trying to capture or the setup or like, what do you do?
Little bit. I think usually it starts with for an editorial, for example, finding people that want to collaborate with you. If it's not a paid shoot, like if it's not something where you shoot for a magazine or for a campaign. So this was more like contacting people, contacting a modeling agency that I work with, and asking if there's anyone that would fit the look that I do. Usually I do a mood board before every shoot. So having a color scheme that I want to work with, having some rough ideas of what the shoot should be about. And then I send that to maybe a designer or a makeup artist, like everyone that I want to work with, and ask them if they have time and if they would be interested in that. And then it's a bit of back and forth of timing and finding a date that works for everyone. So for this, it was mostly coming up with an overall idea. I usually don't plan out every shot because I learned that usually doesn't really work for me. Like I have an idea of a set that I want to work with. I have some shots in my head, but I'm very flexible, especially when it is for a personal project. So it's more about having an overall idea what it's supposed to be, and then contacting potential people that I want to work with. And that's just a lot of emailing back and forth, or being in Zoom calls. And so I have not, this is the first time working with an amazing new makeup artist that I just met, an amazing new model that I met. So it's also just nice for these test shoots to work with people that you have not worked with before, to try it out. So if you have a paid shoot if you have a paid campaign or magazine shoot, you know who to ask. So I think it's really good for personal stuff to work with other people that you've not worked with before, just to have a bigger network. That's the process, and it varies sometimes depending on what kind of shoot it is and what the result at the end is supposed to be. But for personal stuff, it's mostly coming up with the idea, making a mood board, sending it out to people, or contacting people on Instagram. Even if you like, for example, the makeup artist, I contacted her on Instagram and asked her if she would be up for a collaboration. And that I think was planned, 2 weeks planning, just to give people enough time and not ask them, hey, do you have time tomorrow? But just to plan in advance and to give people the option to check their calendars and be free on that date.
Good plan. No, it's good to hear the background of how you're getting all of this set up. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So here it's just me poking my nose because I still feel the stick from my corona test in the morning. You see in the back, the backdrop's already down. I don't know, we can listen to what I'm saying here so you guys know what's going on.
Now I just did a corona test, which I can still feel in my nose, but it's negative, so that's good. And now I have to format my SD cards and get the studio ready, and everyone else is gonna come in 20 minutes.
So that's just my trying to be informative intro of my actual shooting day, and then this is some of the clothes that we're gonna shoot, which I think is really cool. You still see the hats are still in the back, but you see this furry dress already.
Rebecca. It looks good though. Is it a dress or a coat? It is a onesie?
It's a dress. I actually thought it would have pants, but it was a dress. Like it's one big dress.
Wow.
And then I usually in the beginning of my beginning of the shoots, I add in some B-roll. So just some, we see here, we have a lot of shoes on the floor, and just to give a bit like details of what's going on, the hand sanitizer next to the lenses. 2021. And then here, that's the first clip of the model and the makeup artist.
And Sophia, I've got a question for you. Like now that we're doing photo shoots, during this kind of, these COVID times, because
Yes.
you set up the shoot, would you be responsible to test everybody, or does everybody have to come being tested to say that it's negative? Like, is that something that the photographer owns, or the person that's driving the shoot?
I think it depends on, first of all, how many people come. I think the rules are changing quite a lot here, but it used to be that if a production is bigger than 10 people, you have to have like a hygiene concept. We had that in December for a bigger shoot. So basically you have to write down who was there at what time and document that all the restrictions were followed. Right now, since we're just 3 people, like everyone got tested, but I'm offering that. I'm like, if I ask you to come to my studio and work with me, I obviously will pay for your corona test because I want everyone to be safe. We all shoot with masks. Like whoever is not in front of the camera, even if you've been tested before, wears a mask just to be safe. And I think since it's a personal project kind of thing, I don't know if I would be responsible, but we're trying to be as safe as possible.
That sounds really
so
safe.
far that has been the way to go, just getting tested and then wearing a FFP2 mask the whole day.
Yeah. Good
That's
to
what
know.
we do. As you can see here, the makeup artist, especially because makeup artist is basically the only person you cannot do makeup from the distance. That's just the only thing that doesn't really work. So I can take photos from further back, just use a longer lens, and that's fine. But makeup is just, they have to touch the face. So they have to come very close to the models. So in order to then protect the makeup artist and the model, I think tests and masks are the way to go.
Definitely.
But it's been a challenge for sure. Like I didn't take photos for months. I think 2 or 3 months minimum. I wasn't shooting at all, just because it was a bit risky and I didn't want to put anyone at risk, and it wasn't that easy to get tested. And now here's really, you can just go there and it takes 2 seconds and then they send you the result. So that's good. So here is the hat, or like one of them. Bloop.
Very cool.
Yes.
Love it. Looking forward to seeing these pictures when you can share them.
Depends. So the one that we did for the beauty brand have to be done in 2 weeks. And on my personal projects, depends. I still have one other one that I have to edit. Maybe also by the end of the month, I guess. Just because I'm really bad at saying something's finished. So I tend to go back, retouch again, still be like, no, maybe I should change it. And maybe then I go back. And I sometimes need to give myself a deadline, like even though I don't have an actual deadline, like a personal deadline, just to stop going back and trying to fix something again and opening it again on Photoshop and looking at it. And so I hope by the end of the month, everything will be.
And Sean asks, is that 600 watt or 300 watt lights?
Let me think. I think 500. It's an Elinchrom ELC 500 I used, but I can confirm in Discord. I'll look it up because I don't want to give any wrong answers. But it's an Elinchrom strobe that I was using, and just one, and the softbox. And so yeah, that was the first look, or the second. I don't like the first look, I think. Then where's that? Here. Now, this is one of the big clips. As you can see, it's very long. Let's close this. Where I forgot that I had the camera set up. So it's very... Oh, now I moved it by accident. Oh, come on.
But this is the bit. This is the bit that everyone wants to see in this video.
That is...
Because they're watching you.
Uh-huh. You see, oh, this is the big furry dress. But we have to cut that down because this is, I don't know how long, but it's very long. Because I probably, just set up the camera and then hours later was like, oof, I still have my camera running. So let's cut this here and remove the first bit. I don't know, do you edit on your iPad too on Rush? I don't know if we talked about it last week.
I find that the videos that I make, they're all, I mean, I edit them all on my laptop because I'm doing a lot of screen grabs from my laptop. So it's just much easier to do it that way. But I tend to do personal videos more on the iPad because that's where I'm pointing and shooting, and rather than on for work, it's all laptop. Yeah.
Do you like select and then move in and use the scissor tab, or do you actually do it where you can make the clips? Because you can also do it with your finger, like this, how you like pinching in.
Yeah, you can. No, I'm scissors all the way because you can make an edit straight away. It's really precise, and just get that, the bar where you want it. Press the scissors, cut it straight in, like it's quick.
What are we doing here?
Do you ever shoot with all of the lights turned on and not strobed?
So you mean with continuous light? So depends. I either use, so you can see here in the studio we have pretty big windows. So I either use natural light if it's possible, and sometimes just diffuse it with a sheet, like just a white see-through-ish sheet. Or I use a strobe. I don't use continuous light for photos. Maybe for product photography, I think that's pretty good, especially if we want to have harsh light. But for shoots like that, I usually just shoot with a strobe. I also just have one. I don't have multiple strobes because I think at one point I just thought if I have to master one light before I start adding more. And then I just worked around how I would do what I want to do with one light. It's quite resourceful. And then just buying different diffusers. That's what I'm doing basically.
And then do you find that you do more post-production that way? Or it's just easier to control with just the one light?
For me, I feel like it's more about how you control the light. And also, for example, people would I put the strobe on the opposite side of the windows. So I use my window light as a fill light. What other people would usually maybe use another strobe coming from the other side. I use natural light as a fill. And then sometimes you have to retouch the color light, like the white balance. Or as you can see here, I also have a reflector on the other side. I use reflectors a lot, or V-flats, so these really big flats that are standing on the opposite side of the flash, so the light just reflects. And for me, it has worked for a long time now, so I never felt the need to buy another strobe. Maybe at some point when there are multiple people, I think if you shoot with more than one person, you at some point have to step up the lighting game. But so far it has been good with one. Also now when I look at my behind the scenes, I'm like, what am I doing with my feet? How am I standing when I'm taking photos? It's just like being like super slow, like making myself super small and big and super weird. I don't know if I look at this. What is this?
That's just like you're willing to do what it takes to get the shot. So no, I think it's great. I love it. No, it is good.
So I'm just trying to cut this long clip into pieces. Here we go. So we don't see the whole thing. And my amazing makeup artist running in to check that everything is in place and fixing the hair and everything.
Have you ever watched a video back, like a behind the scenes video like this, but used it to coach yourself on how you might do something differently?
I don't think so. For me, it's more I think it has to do also because I don't have the camera set up the whole time. And the most important thing for me for a good photo shoot also is just having a good time and a good connection to who I'm shooting with. Which goes a little bit against the whole trying to film it while you do it, because I have this idea in my head that either you are in the moment or you capture the moment. So for me, a good shoot, so critique I would give myself, or like things that I want to execute to my best abilities, is to create an environment for everyone to have a good time and everyone to feel safe and everyone feel their most beautiful. So and then the photos don't matter as much. I feel like if the environment is amazing, the result will be good. But that's something you can't see in video, I think, because whenever I'm talking to people and like trying to create a connection, I'm not filming that because I can't focus on two things at the time. But maybe I can try to do that. Maybe just set up one GoPro in the corner and then just completely film the whole day and see what happens.
I think you should put a GoPro on yourself. Like you should, because all of these angles that you're doing, like all of this, and you're seeing the light, like honestly, I really think you should go all in. Wear like a body cam.
You kind of see people looking at me weird, being like, what is this thing that you have there? Filming the whole time. So yeah, I would cut this a little bit more. Here you see that, and I think we have one more clip that I want to add in because we saw Eve was like, Eve is the model, and Eve was like, are you doing your vlogs? And I'm like, yes. Do you want to be in my vlogs? And she was like, yes, I want to eat. So we have this little clip of Eve eating. And I just thought that was funny and nice and just shows the mood, like how it is to be in the studio, because we're actually just having fun and taking breaks, and it's not stressful. I hope it's not stressful for anyone, because I don't want to create an environment that is stressful. And I think, to be honest, I have to add one more, because people told me I don't do outros in my videos. I just do whatever I do and don't say what I do. So I listened this time and made a little bit of an outro here where I'm talking and telling everyone we're done now. And this is my shoot. So we're just gonna cut the beginning again and throw this out. This video turned out to be so long, as I see now. It's 8 minutes long.
8 minutes, yeah.
So I would usually, I'm checking the time. I would usually now go back and just like shorten everything that can be taken out. Maybe some bits of the dog's gonna come out, or the vacuuming, I'm gonna shorten that, or like clips of me sitting in the car waiting for the rain to stop, things like that. But usually this is how I do my rough first edit to do my behind the scenes video, and then I go back and fine tune it. But what I always do is I add music to it, because I think that just makes it more fun. And I do a little bit of not effects, but how you call that, transitions. Like transitions also at the beginning and the end. I like this fading in and fading out, so the videos have a clear beginning and ending. So just to recap what we did last week, also about sounds, we just go into audio. You see next to me is still trending, our favorite song.
Top video, top sound. It's so good.
And yeah, usually sometimes I go through here, or I download a song on Adobe Stock, or I mean, there are other websites where you can download free music. Either you go through here, what you find in Rush, or Adobe Stock, and then I put it on my iPad or in my Dropbox, and then import it from there. Do you have any other tips on music? Any?
I like the uplift. I type in happy a lot to the search, because it brings up lots of different uplifting tracks, and some of them are really good because they build and build. And so let me see, the ones I avoid the European medleys because there's way too much accordion in them. Just, I don't know what it is about Europe and accordions. But we've got...
You mean this one here? This European medley? Okay. I've never heard of
them. People can hear them, right? Because I don't know if they can hear them.
Okay, yeah, I'll play that, okay? I'll play it.
I mean, it's perfect for a boat on the, the River Seine, but
yeah, it's very, like, I would associate that with like Paris, France, something like that.
Totally.
Maybe they think that's European. Maybe that's just them.
World Traveller is quite good. I've had that one before. After Hours is good as well.
Okay, let me just listen to one more. Like, worst case, I just go with Next to Me because that's an evergreen and works for almost every video for me. But let's just listen to one more because I'm really curious. Do you see World Traveller or another one? What did you say? World Traveller?
World Traveller is good. World Traveller is good. And then there's one just down the list there. So you've got World Traveller and Chill Jazz Shimmer is quite a good background. Low volume.
What would you, since you know both of them, what do you think would fit better for behind the scenes in this case?
I'd go for Traveller, I think.
Traveller. Okay, I have to listen to it first though. Real quick.
Oh no, maybe not this one. Not that one. It's a different Traveller. That's very no. The one that the World Traveller that I know is it's guitar, and it's like music that you would have when you're kind of like walking through a city, and it's like ding 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 like.
Oh, that's good.
Traveller, but I'm going to find the name for it now because this is going to annoy me if I can't remember it.
Okay, but we're gonna listen to Chill Jazz Shimmer real quick, and then maybe we use that and see if it fits or not.
It's quite cool.
I like that. I think I'm gonna take that. We're gonna add it.
Oliver's put a good comment about remember Adobe is a US company, a UK medley would probably be a Chaz and Dave mix. Oh my goodness. Amazing.
Is this because this is why European is like French? This is why the European
really
medley is
French.
like
it is
French.
It's really lots of accordion. Yeah, I know. And you've got, especially there's some ones that are they have anthems in there as well, which are like national anthems, and it does sound like, I don't know, it's funny.
Not good.
Not good.
So what I do every time is I just do auto volume. Do you use auto volume on your clips, like on the music and stuff?
No, I always edit the volume, the clip volume.
No, for me, that is just something, either I do it properly and then it takes me a lot of time, or I'm like, whatever, I'm just gonna get it out there and then see if people like it. Because like I said, it's more about this is way too long. So I think what I would do, even that's gonna be very drastic, and I know we only have 7 minutes left, so I'm gonna do a bit of a cliffhanger here. What I will try to achieve here is to make my clip as long as the song, the whole video, kind of. I think that's always good to use one song, 2 minutes. I know this is gonna be a third of what I have now. So we can see what that is gonna look like. If someone's interested, I will probably post it on my Instagram and on YouTube when it's ready. But what I'm going to do now before we finish is I'm going to add a title, because I always want to have some intro title and also maybe 1 or 2 graphics. And I think then we're already done. This went by so quickly. I was like, oof, editing one video in an hour. This is, what are we going to do for an hour? And now The hour's already
It's gone so fast.
Okay, graphics, just quickly. Titles. Usually I'm very boring and just take the first one. But now I'm thinking, should I be adventurous?
I do the bottom left or the first one, always.
Yeah. No, but now I'm thinking, should I be adventurous and just go with some real crazy title here? I love this insert location, by the way. This is one of my favorites. I don't know why, but I love it. And now we're gonna use this one.
That's nice.
Just to see. Here we go. I usually close this and zoom in, go on this, open it up, and then how are we gonna call this? If I write behind the scenes, it might be too much because behind the scenes is a very long word. I write shoot.
Well, just BTS. BTS is the new thing all over Instagram.
Isn't BTS also a boy band somehow? Someone told me that it's that's also a band that does music, but
they sing Dynamite. Da, 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 da,
yes,
da, that one. Set the night alight.
So,
yeah, my kids listen
still
to
we're
it.
gonna call it BTS. for a lack of a better. Oh, you see, it comes up. Oh, I'm sometimes surprised. Like I assume it's just gonna be like that, and then it fades in. I love that.
So good.
So I don't want to adjust. I just want to move it to the beginning of the clip. BTS. Cool. I like that. How much time do we have? Do I have time to add one more graphic, or is it? Are we reaching
4 minutes? I reckon you've got enough time to add another. For sure.
Okay.
3 minutes.
Because I want to add my favorite location one. Because it's gonna be my signature graphic that I add. I found it and I fell in love, and now it has to go into every video I have. Where did it go? Here. Add. Tell everyone where we at. Double click. Insert location. Double click on it. Remove that and type in Berlin. And also because I think white, you can't really see that. You can change the color. I mean, you can adjust basically everything. You can change the font, the size, whatever you want. And let's just get creative here.
One thing I do like though is that all of the videos that I make in Rush that are the tutorial videos or the videos that take people through the stages on the website, where to find things, etc. I use the same titles for every single thing, the same bumper at the beginning. So each video always has that same, people know what to expect, when they see them. So I like the idea of having a title that you would use, that you would stick to. I do like that.
Yeah. I'm just trying to, done. Why am I not changing the colors? I thought I would change the color fill. This. And then done.
Highlight the
changing
text.
my color.
I think you need to double click. There you go. And now, there you go. Fab.
Is it?
Oh, here we go. You changed it.
Yes, teamwork.
Perfect. Do you know what though? You can drag it if you don't want it in the middle, even if it looks like a title that's in the middle. If you double click on the actual screen at the top there, so actually in the program monitor, you could drag that to the corner if you want.
Oh, really? Because what I usually do, I just go to transform and then move it like this.
See, I know. I just pick it up, drag it, move on.
I will try that.
But no, but you're probably doing it the proper way of making sure that's exactly.
I don't know. That's just
in the right
how I think it's once again just how you prefer
preference
to do it, basically. So we have our little Berlin in here. So yeah, I will finish editing this, and I hope everyone's excited to see the final video and also the final photo shoot.
It'll be great. I'm looking forward to seeing the photos, and thank you for taking us through all this today. I think it's good to see Rush being used in a real, a real scenario of how you'd capture backstage and behind the scenes. We're here all week, as you may know, for Adobe Live. We've got 2 more sessions coming up, and on Wednesday this week, Tim, our very own Tim Morris, will be covering a Dimension masterclass. So really, get stuck into that, as that will be really good to get involved with. And then on Friday, Emily Zatzka and our lovely Natalie, and I think Emma as well, actually, will be here covering shooting and working from home. So lots to come up this week. Keep the chat coming on Discord. So we'll be chatting in there. Please drop in this photo shoot and bits into Discord as well, Sophia, so that we can see the photos when they're done. We'll look out for Instagram as well.
I will.
And thank you, everybody. We'll see you all soon.
Thank you so much. Have a great week.
Yeah, have a great week. Bye, everyone.